This episode is brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. It's a specialty coffee, high quality, guys. Make sure to check it out. I'm telling you right now, the taste of our coffee is some of the best in the business. Head to grumpycoffee.com.au. Give it a try. We've got a kilo bags. We've got 250 grams. We've also got pods as well. Head to grumpycoffee.com.au and give Grumpy Coffee a try. Turn that frown upside down.
Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. I'm here with fellow winger, Sione Katoa. How you going, brother?
I'm good, thanks.
Mate, thanks for coming on, brother. And we were just talking as you walked in. I still can't get over that incredible game against Australia, mate. How's the headspace since that game?
Headspace a lot better now. It's been relaxing, chilling at home,
Yeah.
and fishing a lot. So
Yeah.
good relaxation. Yeah.
And so the game, heading into that game, were you? I mean, I'm sure you would have been aware of how big of a deal it was. But I guess when you've got the whole nation behind you, do you feel that pressure at times, or is it just like, you know what, I'm just going to do my best?
Yeah. Well, going to this championship, I knew it was going to be big for me. It was always in my head the last World Cup. You know, I didn't perform, and I know some Tongan fans they like to turn on you sometimes, and and it was a really bad time for me at that time. So, and then that was my first coming back from the World Cup. That was my first championships, and I would just in my head was just wanting to perform and just try and play good.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, sometimes when fans are super passionate, the negative side of that is if you don't go well, you obviously hear about it quite a lot.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's what happened to me, and it was just I just wanted to come into this camp, make sure my body was right,
Yep.
and ready mentally, and
And so coming into this camp, you boys, the first game against Australia, I thought you did fantastic. Like, I thought that, with one play to go, it was 12-0, and you guys were in the fight. Just a few things didn't go your way. Did you take a lot of confidence from that first game against Australia?
Yeah, we definitely did. I knew a lot of the boys were confident going into this week.
Yep.
Maybe because we're versing Australia, or when we finished the game, I think more of the boys were upset. Not that we lost, that we could have won that game. So
Yeah, mate. That first game, if a few things had have just like a few kicks here or there, and like Keon scores that try, you just don't know what would have happened. You just don't know what happened. So I guess after that first game, going to New Zealand, you guys, like, that first half was crazy. Were you? I guess, what did Wolfie say, or what did the boys say to get you that amped up to play as hard as you did in that first half?
I think it was that confidence from that Australia game,
Yeah.
Knowing that we could have won that game, or and that Wolfie told us that we played good, and and they gave us confidence. He wasn't really angry or anything. And I think just going back to New Zealand, that's where the fans there, the Tongans are, and just being in New Zealand, just gave us that confidence. And it's being in 1 week, with the boys, getting comfortable in that.
Yeah.
And going to that game was
Oh man, that first half, bro, that was crazy.
Yeah. Man, I still that whole game was crazy for me. When the game finished, and especially that first half, we were man, we were just on.
Mate, I said, on our Monday show, if you could imagine the perfect way for Tonga to play, that was it. Just power game through the middle. Use your absolute physical talent. I need to ask him. We spoke about it off air, but for us Aussies, we aren't obviously aware of it. But the hymns that the Tongan fans they sing. So walk us through what are those hymns, and how come everyone knows it in Tonga?
So I grew up in the Tongan church.
Yep.
And I was going from my teen years, and I stopped going for them since. But I think those hymns are the most popular ones that they sing in church.
Yeah.
So everyone knows it, and I still remember those hymns from when I was in church. So I think those are the popular ones that everyone sings a lot. Yeah.
So basically, are they singing along the lines of glory to God and all that kind of? Is that what's being sung?
Yeah, that type of stuff. That's what. Yeah.
Mate, it's incredible. Because as an Aussie, you kind of go, how do they all know the same song, but obviously, you know, you all grew up, and not all of you, but most of you grew up in the church and everything like that. So I guess when you hear those hymns on the field, does that give you that extra bit of motivation?
Yeah, it's yeah, it does. You know, like when I'm in the trenches on the wing and I'm tired as, and I start hearing that, it does help. Yeah, definitely.
And looking up and seeing the sea of red, like, far out, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it just when I hear that, and it just makes me stop thinking about footy and just looking around. You know, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in church or something. Soften me up a bit. But yeah, it's good.
It's awesome. And before the game, now, is it Sipatau? What's the
Sipitau, yeah.
Sipatau? Sorry, I'm saying it wrong, apologies. And so, when was the first time you got to do that in a Tongan jersey?
My first media test.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I didn't play any of those junior Tonga teams. So I didn't know it much. Nah, not that I didn't make it. I think it was when we were playing Harold Matthews and that.
Yeah,
I couldn't get a game, but that was my first one, and so I was kind of new learning it, you know. And, yeah.
And so when you, like in the New Zealand one, when you're doing it in front of the crowd, are you just going, man, this is so good?
And it's just like a pump up, you know, and then like, yeah, a lot of aggression and that, but yeah, it's crazy.
And so against New Zealand, you scored the first try, if I recall correctly. Yeah, you did. Yeah, scored the first try. So you go over. Did you just get the feeling that you boys were on that night? Like, what do you reckon was not different about the night? Because you'd beaten Australia before, so it's not like you hadn't beaten top-tier sides before. But what was there anything different about that night? Did you feel the boys were just on, or what was it like?
I think it was from that Australia game, like I said, that confidence, that belief, and it just went through a whole camp, the whole week, and leading up to it, and yeah, and that's how we perform. If you believe in each other, and yeah,
so good, bro, so good. And so the game, so you get that great lead, then they start coming back. Are you going, oh no?
At the time, I was maybe a lot more tired than I thought I was going to be, and I'm not thinking at the time, you know, it just goes quick.
Yep.
But man, when I was in fullback, I ended up in fullback, I think, on that game, and I never played fullback since I was in SG ball. You know, I was a lot skinnier. I was like 80 kilos. I was moving well, so when I was playing fullback, I'm now 90 something kilos and can't move as good as I was, and I was a lot tired than I was, and there was times where I was just on my knees and I was just like, man, I was gone. But yeah, it was just maybe a lot of fatigue, and you know, when that's what happens when you don't realise that thing. Yeah.
And so it gets close to the game, and Sione Katoa nails the field goal. What are you thinking then? Because like he's 20 years old, like the pressure on the young fella. What are you thinking then?
Like I said, I was probably fatigued too when I saw him kick the field goal, so I didn't have too much energy even when he kicked it, so that's how gone I was. But till I realised, you know, after the game, man, that was such a big play, and
playing fullback. Wait, so who? I'm trying to think. Who was your fullback again? Sorry, Hopewadi, and he injured? What happened to him? Head knock? No.
I think that was his knee. Yeah, he had a knee injury. And I saw him limping. And I just said to him, "You go on the wing. I'm going fullback." But I was waiting for like trainer or coach to say something, you know. And I just told him, "I'm going fullback. You go on the wing." And
man, what a game! What a game! So the siren goes, and like, what are the boys saying after that game, that win against New Zealand?
For me, I was shocked. I was shocked for the rest of the, you know, like a couple of days after, I was still shocked that we won. I was like, for me, it was like winning like a grand final, like a Newtown grand final or something. Like it was like even beating like New Zealand. And I was happy with my performance, so that's what made me enjoy that win even more, and I was just shocked. Yeah.
Man, incredible. So good. So heading into the Australia game, like what was the talk within the team? Because you don't want to play the game before you get out there. Like you don't want to be amping yourself up on the Monday or the Tuesday or the Wednesday. How did Wolfie like keep the emotions in check but get you prepared so that when you do run out, that's when you release the emotions, kind of thing?
Similar from when we started camp, that belief, and using that first game as a learning, and then that New Zealand game as confidence, and then going to this final. What we didn't do in that first game, that's what he wanted us to do, and just add that belief.
Yep.
And yeah, that was all our game plan the whole week, just believing. Yeah.
Such a good game, bro. Such a good game. So obviously you come up a little bit short, but that last 10 minutes where you're like, oh, maybe.
There was a lot of times during that game where things happened different. We could have won, or maybe it got closer, but yeah.
It is what it is, man. But incredible. Like, I guess when you walked off was the boys kind of like, look, we didn't win, but we've done so well for our nation kind of thing?
Yeah. I think all the boys were proud with how we went the whole, how we represented our country.
Yep.
Definitely happy. Yeah.
Man, it just, I mean, it's such an incredible series. Like, I can't wait for next year. So next year is going to be Samoa, Tonga, New Zealand. Like, I guess Samoa, Tonga, the rivalry is like crazy. Are you excited for that?
Yeah. It's exciting, like, after they beat us in the World Cup, and there's a lot of Tongan Samoans here in Australia, New Zealand, so I think it'll be good.
Oh man, I cannot wait. And just the Pac Champs wasn't also the only thing, this year for you as well. You obviously made a prelim with the Sharkies. How would you rate your season this year for the Sharkies? Were you happy with it?
I was definitely happy. A lot more consistent throughout the year. A lot more confident than I've ever been.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do you reckon, has Fitzy really helped you be confident in your style of play?
He's the big reason why I've become this player since he's got here.
Yeah, wow.
And it's simply started from his first day and my first day in pre-season. I'm not really that good in fitness.
Yeah.
I know wingers, but for me, I'm not good fitness. And that first year he coached, and my first session, I was in the back. I was like, I was dying, and then he came up to me and he was just like, "Oh, so you're that type of player?" He was remind me of someone else from Roosters, and that gave me the confidence. And he was like telling me, "I don't care, like you're in the back or." As long as I see you having a dig, and hearing that changed my mindset about playing footy and being a professional footy.
Yeah, it's such an important thing to understand that different certain players are different. Like, what's crazy is like you may not do well at fitness, but when you get on the footy field, you can have like 25 hit-ups. Whereas ironically, someone like me, I would do really good at fitness, but because I didn't grow up playing footy, like doing 25 hit-ups for me would be really tough. It's just like different types of fitness,
No, it is. And all the boys, they're always reminding me during pre-season when I'm dying, when I'm about to pass out, that like, hang in there, we know you're there during the season.
Yep.
And just hearing that from them, it helps a lot.
Absolutely. And so Fitzy, that's just to give you that confidence as well, because instead of, I could be wrong, but I assume like probably there were a lot of pre-seasons where you would go in almost dreading it. Like, don't get me wrong, you'd still be nervous about fitness, but back in the day when you've got a coach that's just constantly angry at you because you can't win fitness, it's just like you're not enjoying it. Whereas when Fitzy says to you, look, just go as hard as you can, it makes you kind of enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah. No, definitely, and that's what I admire as my coach, and I'd say he actually helped me in my footy career with that.
Yeah.
Just hearing that, because, man, I had bad times when I first debuted, and man, that was nightmares. Yeah.
And so this year, heading into the season, I guess, had you spoken about as a team a lot about taking that next step and like winning, going and step deeper into finals footy at all?
We always talk about it during pre-season, and that's our main goal, and it's always in our back of our heads, and we do talk about it earlier, so when we get to that spot, it stays with us throughout the year. And
And so this year, you started the year really well. I think you were on top of the table for a period there, and then you had a little bit of a lull, but then obviously you bounced back. What do you remember from the back end of the season? When do you reckon it kind of felt like, I reckon we can go a little bit better this year?
Looking back on those final series, and going into it,
Yep.
I remember we had a lot of doubt from from outside, but like we knew we always had the team, you know, like we just had to come and perform when we get to that final series.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Man, it's seeing the first game against the Melbourne Storm, like just nothing went right for you guys. It was just one of those days. How did you pick yourselves back up and get ready for the next week after that?
No, I remember that Melbourne game. We weren't really happy with our performance and I think just going to that Cowboys game, we knew what would work for us, and we knew what wouldn't work for us. And if we stuck to what worked for us, that was going to help us. So, and I think that's what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you go into that Cowboys game and once you have the incredible first half, like just everything seems to be working. What did you feel that heading out? Was you confident? Like, you know what, we can do this. Like all the doubters, there's a lot of negativity around us, but we can do this. We can prove everyone wrong and make it into a prelim kind of thing.
Yeah. Like after that first game, we had a lot of outside noise, and that sort of, I think, helped us go into that Cowboys game and just knowing what we could do as a team. That's what.
And so heading into the prelim this year, up against obviously Penrith, you guys put up a really good fight, especially that first 60 minutes. Like you were in the match. What was the talk leading into that game for you boys?
I can't really remember, but I knew that there was a belief, you know, like our history with Penrith hasn't been that good, but we knew it was going to be a tough game and that we had to perform for the 80, you know, to win. And yeah, we performed for 60, and it was definitely one of the hardest games that year. Yeah. And
so you guys lose, but in saying that, I personally think a really successful year, building towards the future. And a big thing heading into next year is obviously Adam Fanua-Blake is joining you guys. Are you stoked to have the big fella on board?
Yes. After his performance in his championship, I'm happy he's in my team. Yeah.
Mate, he's a big boy. His footwork far out, crazy.
He's something.
What's it like in the Tongan camp? Because when you boys get together, it's a fun time. Is it always really fun in the Tongan camp?
Yeah, it's a lot of laughter and jokes, and I think just Tongans, being around Tongans, you feel like your own brothers, you know, like, and if you're like away from home and you're missing home, it's good to have those Tongan boys around, you know, laugh and just relax.
Yeah. It's even when the boys get together at training, it's always good to see the boys laughing and joking with each other. Mate, so take us back to a young fella. So you were born in Hamilton, New Zealand, and is it both your parents are from Tonga, or were they born in New Zealand? Whereabouts are they from?
Both my parents are born in Tonga.
Yep.
And then they moved to New Zealand, and that's where I was born, Hamilton.
And so both your parents born in Tonga. Have you been fortunate enough to be able to go back and see where they were born and come from, or not yet?
Nah, I haven't had the chance, but I'd like to go and visit there one day. And more for the fishing. I want to go to Tonga for fishing. But yeah, I'd like to go there.
Does your father fish it at all? Does he love it as well? Or?
Yeah, he loves it. He's the one who got me into it.
Yeah.
When I was in New Zealand when I was younger. So yeah.
And so does your father, when he moved to, your father and mother, when they moved to New Zealand, did they move together or they met when they were in New Zealand? I'm
not too sure. But yeah, I haven't really spoke about that, but they were in New Zealand. I think they moved to New Zealand.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not too sure.
And was it just for a better life?
Just for a better life, and
and so growing up in New Zealand, you were there until you were 6 years old. Do you remember much of New Zealand or not really? 'Cause you were pretty young.
Yeah, I was a bit young, but I do remember a few things, you know.
Yep.
Our first house, I remember that. Picking blueberries, I know that's what my parents used to do in farms. Yeah, that's about it.
So did you grow up on a farm? Did you?
Just we didn't grow up on a farm, but that was a lot what a lot of Tongans were doing then, picking blueberries.
Oh, okay, working
yeah,
that. Yeah.
working, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so the decision to move to Australia, was that also just for a good opportunity as well?
Yeah, just for a better
Yeah.
life again. My parents, yeah.
And so when you got over here, did you immediately go into rugby league, or what did you say? Any sport? What was it like?
I think straight away, my dad took us to footy. Yeah.
And so did you enjoy it straight away, or was it something that you slowly grew into?
I think slowly grew into it.
Yeah.
I just looking back, actually I think I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
And did you have any brothers and sisters as well?
I got 5 brothers,
Yeah.
1 sister. 6
wow.
brothers, 1 sister.
Yep.
They all played footy with us growing up, so
Yeah.
yeah, there was a few of us.
Oh, far out. That's awesome. And so you went to school, Barker College, and you played rugby union there as well, did you?
No, I didn't get it.
Oh, you didn't go to Barker College? Oh, it says Barker College. What school did you go to?
Westfield Sports.
Westfield Sports, okay. And so you didn't play union at all then?
No,
No,
union.
okay. Okay, so you go to Westfield Sports, and was that just like, because that's a rugby league school, hey?
Yeah.
Was that because you were going really well at footy?
Yeah. I think when I was little, I think I was going well, and
Yep.
I don't know how my parents got to take me there, but
Yeah, it's 'cause it's a good school.
yeah, like they took me for a trial,
Yep.
and then I
And you made
made 7,
Yeah, wow.
and I've stayed there since.
No way, far out. And so, what age did you? Because you were part of were you part of the Para Eels junior system?
Yeah, I played Harry Matthews at Para.
Yep.
And we won that year,
Mm.
and won that national year, and then I played SG ball at Para again. Yeah.
Okay. And did you like at that stage? What age would you been there? Like 16,
16 years.
yeah. And were you going really well? Like, or were you just solid? Were you okay? Like, what were you?
I think I was okay.
Yeah.
Just really skinny. I was really skinny.
Yeah.
Bald head. I was just moving well.
Yep.
Just remind me, I had
Good footwork.
good footwork,
Yep.
a bit of speed, and I think I was just moving well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're at the Eels, and were they? So you're in the Eels junior system. Were there other teams that were interested in signing you at all?
So when I finished SG ball, I had no teams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, they sort of left me out to dry. Parramatta.
So they just dropped you and didn't speak.
Yeah, they didn't say anything, and I remember I went back to play Sydney Shield after SG ball, so I was still young too.
Yeah.
And I remember that year I was just enjoying it, and then I was about to sign with Waratahs, have a development contract with Waratahs.
Yeah.
And then that week I was about to sign, and then my manager got me to train with Sharks 20s. That's
No
where it
way.
started.
So did you play
Yeah.
a whole year without a club, or just like a few months?
I think a few months, yeah.
Yep.
A few months.
And so it was just a matter of like, so you played that the last year with Para, and then they just didn't call you back up again or something?
Yeah, just from what I remember, nothing.
Yeah, wow. And did you get deterred at all, or were you just like, nah, it's all good, I'll just keep playing footy?
Nah, I don't think so. I think I was still young, and I was that quiet kid. I probably am still quiet, but I was that very quiet kid that I didn't really think I should be like that. So
Yep.
I think I was enjoying footy at that time a lot. I enjoyed playing footy, so
Yep.
I didn't really care about contracts or NRL or at that time.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah,
you just
so-
did it because you loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. And what the Sydney Shield side? What side was that you were playing for?
Cabramatta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you would have been like what, 18?
Yeah,
then,
something
about
like
then?
that. Yeah.
And so when the Cronulla Sharks offer you the deal, I guess like, did you tell your parents straight away? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, so I was happy I had something with Union,
Yeah.
but I sort of was like, it didn't feel right.
Mm.
Like, I just, maybe because I was enjoying my league, and then when I got someone with Sharks, and then, I was like, definitely told my parents. I was very happy.
Yeah.
You know, I was a year up. I'm 20, so
Okay. Wow.
yeah. So I always had to work hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you arrive at Cronulla, and so this was part of their NYC team, and you score 44 tries in 49 matches. Were you just loving life, just playing footy with your friends and just enjoying it?
Yeah, like I think it was that, like I said, I was enjoying footy and this opportunity, you know, like I wasn't really thinking of making the team or like getting a contract or even playing an NRL at that time.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like I was just playing footy, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it got me there.
No way. So you basically just rocking up each day, loved just playing the game, and weren't even thinking about like, oh, I hope I get this, I hope I get that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you score 44 tries in 49 matches, and you're named on the wing 2017 Holden Cup Team of the Year. I guess like that would have been a really proud moment for you and your family, like on the wing with so many guns playing in that year.
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking back from that time, I was very shocked that it happened because, yeah, looking at the team that was there, you know, most of them are NRL players now, and I didn't think at that time, like, you know, I was quiet, didn't really talk much or to anyone, and to be in that team, I still felt like didn't deserve to be there.
Okay.
But, yeah.
But you made it. Did that give you a little bit of confidence though? Did you go, oh, far out? Or did you just kind of go with the flow?
Like, I think it did give me confidence.
Yeah.
Like, and like that, for my last year definitely gave me a lot of confidence. You know, I was best footy. I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
Scoring tries. Yeah.
Man, there's nothing better than when, as a winger, if you're just scoring tries each week, it's the best. It's the best. So you make the NYC Team of the Year, and then is that the year they asked you to come up and train with first grade?
Yep. So after my last year of 20s, that was my first year pre-season with Sharks. My first contract.
Yep. And so before we get into your first contract with the Sharkies, I need to ask you, bro, what makes you grumpy and what turns your frown upside down?
What makes me grumpy? When Ronaldo's constantly into me, training when I'm at the back of the fitness. Yeah. And what makes me happy?
Yeah.
Going home after a long day of training.
Yeah.
Seeing my family.
Absolutely. There we go. Grumpy coffee, baby. Thanks, brother. There we go. Anyway, so you get put in the first grade squad, and as a really quiet young fella, I can let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that like that's a big shock to you because like it's loud, they're grown men and like they're India about everything. Was it like that for you, or you knew some people in there so it was okay?
I had some of my 20s teammates there, but I think. Yeah, I was really shocked because I had to train with looking up these NRL players, you know, like the NRL players, and I just came from 20s. And
yeah.
Like every time we'll do a pose with NRL when I was in 20s, and then there'll be times where I'll step someone and then I'll make a line break, and then I'll be like, oh, sorry. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. Oh.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's how I was back then.
Yeah.
And then going into the NRL, that's how I was, you know, like I didn't go into there, I want to play wing. I want your wing spot. I wasn't really like that. I was just quiet, just training, you know. So, yeah.
It can be hard, especially if you're a quiet kid, because they want you to like almost be not loud, but you know, I want that wing spot and be super competitive and almost like just establish yourself. But when you're quiet, sometimes it can be hard because you're probably brought up always being taught respect your elders or respect people that are before you. And so, did it take you a bit of time to get used to being able to like kind of express yourself to them?
Man, it took me a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe all the way to when Fitzy came.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
That long.
Yeah, wow.
Coming through, being that quiet kid and not too confident, and I remember I used to get controlled, like from coaches. from players, you know, being quiet, not
Yeah.
speaking up for yourself, and it didn't help a lot coming through. You know, it didn't give me much confidence, and that's one thing I'll look back to change.
Yeah.
Just being yourself, and yeah.
Yeah. No, it's as I said, like, because when I come through, I was relatively quiet too, and because I come from soccer, I was just trying to like find my bearings, and you don't, like, someone might say something, you don't stand up for yourself. You're just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, sweet, like, and then so do you reckon Fitzy really helped you kind of go, you know what, like I'm gonna say what I feel and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. What he brought like to that club that year, it changed me a lot, because not only I was learning how to play the game as a winger, you know, knowing what to do and knowing your job, and when you're not doing your job, you know, what to do. And that definitely gave me confidence, you know, challenging myself.
Yeah.
On and off the field, he challenged me. And that challenge made me be more confident and open and speak what I feel.
Yep.
And not just being quiet and holding that in.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That's man, that's a good coach. That's a good coach who can bring that out of you. So 2018, what's incredible is, like, even though you were really quiet as a young fella, you still make your debut round 1, 2018. Do you remember the conversation or anything like that? How you made your debut?
I remember leading up to that, everything up to that. So during that preseason, I think I was killing it. You know, when we get into opposed and that, I was sort of on the wing starting team. Have starting team versus opposed, and I was on that team all the way up to round 1. And I was like, I wasn't like too bothered with it, like, oh, you know, I'm in this team. I was just training, I was just doing my thing.
Yeah.
And then end up getting named there. It wasn't really a surprise, because like I was like, I'm in the starting team for the whole thing.
Yeah,
so when I got
okay.
named, it wasn't really a big thing, you know. That I didn't think I got a jersey presentation.
Yep. Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, looking back, I wasn't really like a shock thing. So it was just
Yeah, okay.
it just happened.
Because you'd trained the whole time there.
Yeah,
Okay. And just for the listeners, like, sometimes like outside looking in, the coach might say, oh, I haven't really selected the team or whatever. But if usually you get a gist of who is in the starting team, because you have to train together to get the combinations right.
Yeah.
Who was your centre at that time?
I think it was Dugan. Yeah.
Oh, Joshy Dugan, the big
Dugan,
fella.
I can't remember. Yeah. Dugan, yeah.
Yep.
I think.
And so when you found out that you're going to make your debut, telling your father and your mother and that, what was that like?
Man, that whole week was like a blur for me. Like,
Yeah.
you know, to my parents. I can't really remember what my convo was with my parents, but I'm sure they were happy. Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, the sacrifice, like them moving from Tonga to New Zealand to Australia, and then their son is playing NRL. Like, that's a pretty incredible story of them, you know, sacrificing to give you guys a better life, you know. And then to see you run out on the field, I'm sure they would have been super, super proud. And so, okay, so you make your debut. Do you remember anything from the game at all?
All I remember is running out into the field. I see Jonathan Thurston. And then the next thing I remember is I broke my jaw.
No way.
Yeah.
What happened?
That's the only 2 things I remember of the game. So I went out to do a tackle, and I can't remember, he tackled me. They landed on my jaw and it snapped and fractured both sides.
No way. Yeah. And so just immediate pain? Like, what was the feeling like?
Not really. I didn't feel any pain. I think I was still in
shock.
In shock, and I think I wanted to keep playing.
Yeah.
And then my trainer was, nah, you can't.
Yeah, wow.
Took me off.
So how long were you out for with the jaw?
6 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was that the first like big injury that you'd ever had?
Yep, that was my first big injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How were you okay with it? Like, coming back from it, were you sweet, fine, or did you like take a bit of time to get confidence back?
It took me a while to get my confidence back, because like you couldn't eat much, and like I felt so weak coming back.
Yep.
My first game, I came back for Newtown. I felt so weak,
Mm.
and like you don't feel strong, and no confidence. So
Yeah, and you're worried about hitting contact and breaking
yeah.
your jaw again and that. Yeah.
yeah.
I remember when I broke my ribs. No matter how much I tried to like, no, I'm sweet, I'm all good. You're still just constantly. You just don't want it to happen again.
Yeah.
Okay, but you end the season playing in Cronulla's feeder club, Newtown, and this was a grand final loss to the Canterbury Bankstown. Do you remember the grand final loss in 2018?
Yes, I do. I do remember that. I think we were leading, and there was a couple of minutes ago, and then I think they scored to win. From what I remember, I remember that whole year. I enjoyed that year after coming back from my jaw. Enjoyed footy again, going back to play for Newtown.
Yeah.
That club was just good people, you know, and you just feel like there's no worry, like you have to perform, or you just go out there and just play again.
Play footy, yeah. Okay, so that next year though, you only make 7 appearances for the Sharks, and you spend most of the time playing for Newtown. Were you, I guess, kind of feeling like, oh man, I wish I was playing more first grade, or were you still just in the mindset of like, man, I just love playing footy for Newtown?
Yeah, so I remember this year I wasn't performing as what I wanted to, you know, and I wasn't enjoying it. Wasn't enjoying footy, and that year again playing with Newtown, it felt like 20s again, you know, just go out and play and score tries, and that's what I wanted. That's what I liked.
Yeah.
Playing for Newtown, because the club is so relaxing, no pressure, and you can just go and do what you want to do, and that's what I felt like. In that year. Yeah.
And so Newtown, you guys, first of all, you win the New South Wales Cup Grand Final in the dying moments with the great Magoulias. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I do remember. Remember that kick, the try, everything.
Yep.
It was just crazy doing that 2 weeks in a row, and I remember just those celebrations after. It was just crazy.
So do you remember the play and everything like that?
Yep. I remember leading up to that, I remember the coach telling Billy, like, you can't kick, you're not allowed to kick anymore. Like, you don't know, like, kicking license.
Oh, no.
And then I think something happened. He ended up in 5'8", I think. And I think that was his, he's like, yes, I'm 5'8", I can kick now. You know, that's what they do. And that's what happened, so.
No way.
Yeah.
And so was it on your wing or was it on the other wing?
It was the other wing.
Other wing,
yeah.
Okay. And so when you saw that go across, what are you thinking? Are you thinking like, oh, we're on here, or just please make the try, or what are you thinking there?
Yeah, I didn't celebrate until I actually saw, I think, Bull running to and that's when
Man. And it's what's crazy is like that Newtown side, like a lot of those boys are now in playing for Cronulla. So like all you boys like genuinely come through the grades together, you know?
Yeah. Now we all played. Some of us played 20s.
Yep.
And then Newtown together, a lot of us, and then we all came up together. Yeah.
It's so good, bro. It's so good. So that first game, you win the New South Wales Cup Grand Final. I guess what was that feeling like? You know, you would have been like 21 years old, 20 years old, just going, this is the best, winning New South Wales Cup.
Yeah. Nah, that was my first big thing that I ever won, and how much I enjoyed playing Newtown. I felt like that's what I wanted in football.
Yeah, okay.
Like just enjoying it, winning a comp, and I didn't at that time really think about NRL.
Yeah, okay.
So I was just more enjoying it and just happy to be playing good footy. And
yeah. And so the next week, the interstate comp, the same thing happens. Well, you just go, what's happening here?
Man, yeah, I didn't really remember that week leading up to it, but I was still buzzing from that. But yeah, same thing again, hard game, and Billy does the same thing. That's crazy, man. I was just
crazy. Did the coach during the week say you've got your kicking license back or what?
I think he didn't care. I think he was gonna kick it in any after that grand final. I think he was gonna kick either way.
Yeah,
whether he told him or not.
Man, what a incredible! Like I still remember the finish of that grand final. It was incredible. Okay, so the next year, how many games did you end up playing in 2020 for the Sharks? Would have been.
I think I played a lot more than that was my first year. I think that's the bubble.
Yep, 20. Yep,
In Brisbane.
yep.
Uh,
19 games. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and you scored your first hat trick against the Bulldogs. Do you remember that?
yes, I do. I do remember that. Yeah, Sean Johnson is just
The man.
the man knows where to find me in.
Yep. So good. And so I guess that was your first like full like long year in first grade. What do you reckon? What do you reckon changed that preseason for you? Did you start to work harder, or did anything change, or you just slowly progressed into it?
I think slowly progress. You know, after debuting 18,
Yep.
and then Newtown Grand Final, and then again Newtown Grand Final again.
Mm.
I think I felt like I was, you know, I was done with that, and I had to, like, I still wasn't really thinking about NRL at that time, but I think I wanted to play there,
Yeah. Okay.
like, and yeah, I think just playing there, and
Yep.
can't really remember that year.
So like almost, you know, you weren't thinking about NRL too much. However, you were kind of thinking like, I need to keep moving forward. Like I can't just stay in New South Wales Cup forever, kind of thing. And so that year you were like, you know, I should be playing first grade at this kind of stage in my
Yeah.
career. What do you reckon you learnt the most from that year, that first full year of first grade?
I think just knowing that I wanted to be playing NRL.
Yeah,
After,
okay.
you know, like you just said, I think like I was dealing with a lot of injuries too.
Mm.
So how to deal with injuries, I think I learned a lot from that year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so that because the next year, I think you only played like 13 games, and was that a lot of injuries again the next year?
Yeah, my knee.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's the year that I did my knee.
Yeah.
I can't
What
remember.
was it, ACL or medial?
MCL and PCL, yeah.
And so how did you go dealing with, like you'd done your jaw before, but you probably hadn't have done like a serious knee like injury like that. How'd you go dealing with that mentally?
It was pretty hard, you
Mm.
know, like I still remember I was still like, you know, that professional athlete, you'll know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that was my first proper big one, I'd say,
Mm.
because that was a longer injury, you know, like how to look after my body when I'm injured, or
Yeah.
what to do with it, like icing it and rehabbing it and stuff. I had to learn that myself, you know, like you got the physios and that there, but I did remember still asking players, like Andrew, his knees weren't that good, and just asking him what, you know. Yeah, that was my first year,
Yeah.
big injury.
And almost like learning to be professional off the field as well, of like, okay, you know, when I was younger, if I got an injury, I just would stop playing and just relax and wait until it healed. And did you learn that year, like, no, I need to like make sure I'm stretching, putting ice on all the time? And did Andrew Fafita help you with that quite a bit?
Yeah, he did. Just asking him about rehab stuff, and he had bad knees and
Yeah.
exercises and that stuff, yeah.
Yeah. What was it like playing with a guy like Andrew Fafita? Big personality?
Man, yeah, very big. He's just real loud, and like everyone knows, and it's good to have around. I remember when I was young, because he knew I was Tongan too, and he always like, you know, like come and talk to me, and, you know, try and make me not that shy, and
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, you need players like that to like identify like, oh, there's a young fella here that's pretty quiet. Like, he's never going to put himself forward. You've got to go out and speak to him, kind of thing.
Yeah,
And that's why like senior players like Andrew Fafita are so important, because they're the ones that's their responsibility to make sure the young fellas feel okay.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so then 2022. So 2021, you play 13 games. 22 is that when Fitzy arrived?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And so you're playing relatively well, but then you do you tear your pec then?
I think at the end of that year.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Fitzy came, changed my whole mindset of who I am as a person and also as a professional athlete.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I realized I want to be a NRL player. I want to be on the wing. I want that. That's my spot.
Yep.
And no one's going to take it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's that year I realized that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That long and confident, but a lot, like, slowly got more confident as
Yeah.
yeah.
It's it is funny how like just certain people just react differently to certain situations where, you know, you just need to like Fitzy to realise, oh, this guy just needs to be spoken to and understood and backed. Like similar situation happened in my career where like I had Wayne Bennett as a coach and he was really good at knowing that like I react differently to him speak. Like let's say he speaks to some of the forwards. If he speaks to me that way, I'm going to react differently to it. Whereas he speaks to me the way I kind of feel comfortable, it just makes you want to play more for him, you know?
Yeah, and it makes me want to enjoy preseason a lot more because preseason, it's like everyone knows it's very tough.
Yeah.
And just wake up in the morning knowing you're going there to train and you're getting smashed and you're not enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely helps.
Okay, so in 2023, like the 2022, 23, and obviously this year, you've just, you know, gone to a new level and you're playing some really good footy. I guess in 23, you signed a 3-year contract extension to remain at the Sharkies. What was that, when you got offered that long-term deal, was that just like a crazy good feeling?
It was, yeah, it's probably the first time that ever, like money-wise, I was more like when I first started, I didn't care what I was on.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care about that money. That money was, you know, I was happy and happy with anything. I was just happy to be there playing. And my first year, I actually realised, I need to look after my family and I want to be this player. So I want to, I was happy.
It's like when you're younger, you're just like, I'm just stoked to be playing footy and oh man, I'm playing first grade, how good. But at some point you need to realise that you're a professional athlete that's providing for your family. Yep. Do you have any children at all?
Yes, I got 2 girls.
2 girls?
Yeah, 6 and 4.
6 and 4. So you would have had your first one when you were 20, 21?
my debut year, that pre-season. So that was the worst year of my life, I swear.
Bro, that pre-season would have been crazy.
Yeah, that was probably the toughest moment in our career so far that year. Yeah.
Just balancing being a young father, you know, the child's probably, you know, not sleeping the best, your sleep cycle's all out of whack.
Yeah. Driving from out west too, I was driving.
So you were still living out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was...
So 23 rolls around and like 22, 23, 24 is like when you and Ronaldo just build a really good combination, you know, like just... I always talk about it on our podcast, but like the Cronulla Sharks backline for me is one of the better backlines in the whole comp. Like I just think you guys are super underrated. I think people are starting to really appreciate you now. I guess, did you, when you got to about 2022, 23, did you start feeling like, okay, I'm no longer a rookie anymore, like I need to now impact games and bring what I do really well to my team?
Yep. That 22 year, that's exactly what I was thinking. You know, I got to train hard and I want to be that winger, and more like I want to perform for my teammates. So I did anything I could to.
Yeah. And so being a wing combo with a guy like Mulitalo, notorious pest, what is it like being a winger? And obviously in a good way, we love Ronaldo. But what was it? It's so funny because you're really quiet. He is really loud, yin and yang. What's it like being a partner with him on the wing?
Man, you know, we're both different people, you know, but
yeah,
we were so close. We're like brothers.
Yeah,
we're like family, and what he does on that field and training, it's helped me so much, you know.
Yeah.
Like every time during training, we'll do fitness, and I would run. I'm looking over to try and look where he is. I want to beat him, and then at the same time he's looking at me. He's thinking the same thing.
Yep.
So we're looking at each other. We're staring at each other, and we start running. You know, and we're trying to beat each other. It was just like it was like a secret challenge. You know, that was.
It's
crazy.
good competition.
Good competition.
Yeah, man, it's such a good win combination. So 2022, you wouldn't have played in the final series in 22 because you did your PEC, hey?
So I was meant to come back that next game
Yep.
if they beat Souths.
Okay.
So yeah, and they ended up losing. So I was done for that
Yep.
year.
Your first game for Tonga though was in 2022. So you played for Tonga Nines in 2019, but your first game, your debut for Tonga was 22.
Yep. That
And-
media test.
Yep. And what was that feeling like? You know, getting called into the Tongan camp and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I was cheering. I was happy. I get to play for Tonga after seeing what they did in 1917, and I just wanted to put that jersey on.
Yeah.
And yeah, that year that game was it's crazy.
Man, it just brought so much to the game of rugby league. Do you remember anything from like looking down and seeing that famous red and white jersey at all?
It was sort of like a debut for me. Like when I first debuted, I remember two things from my NRL debut.
Yeah.
From this one, I don't remember anything from the game.
Yeah, wow.
Or maybe just my try, scoring the try, and
Yep.
and just the crowd. That's the only thing I remember.
So good.
Yeah.
And so the next year, 23, that's when was the World Cup 22 or 23? 22. So you went over to England with the squad then? What was that travel like with being with the boys? That would have been like the first time you got to spend a long time with all the boys and that.
Yeah. So, yeah, we were away for a long time, especially being so far. Like I said, camps are always good with the Tongan boys, you know,
Yeah.
laughter and just enjoying each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was coming back from my pec injury.
Okay.
So I missed that final.
Yep.
And then I went to World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Did you get a chance to like really reconnect with your culture too when you go on those trips? Do they teach you a lot, or you're already kind of pretty connected?
Yeah, they do some cultural stuff, you know, the singing,
Yep.
you know, all that stuff. No, they
Yep.
do, yeah.
That's always whenever I speak to some of the boys, that's like some of their favourite stuff, being able to reconnect with their culture. Okay, so yeah, 2023. You finish the season. You obviously have that really tough loss, but yeah, getting into 2024. I guess for you going forward, what's the like now that you're really starting to go? You know what? Like I'm an NRL player now. I've got goals and I want to achieve things. Like, what is your goal going forward?
So, like, every year I just wanted to challenge myself. What I needed to do, you know, like whether it was I had a lot of challenges since Fitzy came, like challenge myself off the field, who I wanted to become, on the field, and most of it was one of the big things that I was really happy with was not being like too happy with scoring tries.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I used to think that scoring tries, you play a good game.
Yeah.
Like you enjoy it, scoring, but also there's other stuff in the game that you would want to enjoy more, and that's what I learned. And I'm happy to say that this year I enjoyed more doing that stuff than scoring tries.
Yep.
And yeah,
And so that's like the taking runs out of your own end and like running, you know, making sure that you do 15 to 20 carries a game, kind of stuff like that.
yeah, kick chase and
Yeah.
tackling for mark, all that stuff.
Yeah. And so I guess what's been aside of from your debut, what's been one of your favourite moments from your career where you look back and it was either, you know, something off the field or even on the field, a try you scored? What's been your favorite? Because you've scored some pretty incredible tries. Like some of your put downs, for example. Is that something you've practiced quite a lot? The put downs with the one hand around the.
Nah. I don't really practice it. Like I don't even know. Like in 20s, like if I watch something or that made me start doing it. But yeah, I can't remember. I think just being a winger and just I don't know if it was something that wingers do. And that
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. He started it or something.
Not me.
Or other wingers, you know.
I
like,
dropped the ball. I got small hands, bro. I dropped the ball. So maybe you saw some other wingers like scoring those tries. You're like, oh, I need to do that too, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Bro. 'Cause some of the tries crazy. And you said some of your hobbies are fishing. So where's your favourite fishing spot?
Favorite fishing spot.
Yeah.
I also dive to spearfishing.
Really?
So I'm happy to say just in Cronulla.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lobsters.
No way.
So
How long you been like spearfishing in that?
since I started, my first time I moved to Cronulla was 2018.
Yeah.
I remember I was taking my family for a walk, and then I saw some guy diving in the water, and he was catching sea urchin, kinas, they're called kinas. And I was like, I love my seafood too, and I love kinas, and I was, damn, you can get it that easy. So I went and I asked him, can I have one? And then I was like, I tasted it and ate it, and I was like, man, I got to do this. So the next week, I got my skins, put my skins on. I got a spatula, I got a goggles.
Yep.
And I went in the water.
No way.
So that's my first time being in the water, you know, and I was scared. You know, I came from out west, never swam, never nothing, but I think the seafood meant a lot more than being scared in the water. So I really wanted it, you know. That's how much I loved it, and it just started from there.
No way.
Yeah.
Far out. So you actually hadn't swam that much in the ocean at all, really?
No,
wow.
nothing.
No way. And so now, how often do you get to do it?
Spearfishing, it's I've done a lot less now. I'm more into fishing during season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got my own page called the Tongan Fisherman.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I have to shout out Tonga Fisherman. How good. How good.
Enjoy my that's what I love doing off field.
Would you love to eventually like travel and be able to fish in different spots and that? Would that be cool?
Yeah. Traveling to like all the islands.
Yep.
Starting with Tonga first.
Yep.
Catching
far, that'd
fishing
be sick.
there.
That'd be sick. Have you got a YouTube channel on that? You should go to set it up, bro.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Okay.
It's coming soon.
Okay, mad. The Tongan Fisherman. I like that. I like that, bro. Well, man, if you ever need any help or advice with the content of that, bro, just let me know, bro. That's I love that. And the story of so you went back down with it. How long after you saw that dude spearfishing did you go back down with did you say a spatula and a knife connected to it?
Yes. The next week. Because they stuck to a rock, and they're pretty deep. When I was going, I'm like, oh man, it's my first time learning how to block my nose, and I had a goggles, not like snorkel, so it was really hard. You're struggling in the water, and I went down. I think it was 5-6 times. Went down, came up with nothing, and it was a good start for me because now. Collecting your own seafood, eating it's the best.
That's great. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I just went back down there. And so do you have all the equipment now? Like you're all set up?
Yeah, slowly got after that year, I was wearing my skins and like a shirt skins, snorkel, like a goggles, and then slowly upgraded.
That's mad, bro. That's so good. So I guess like, is there obviously, even maybe whilst you're still playing, but post-career, is that the hope that eventually you could do that for a living, is go fishing and different locations and travel on that?
Yeah, hopefully have a YouTube channel, doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Get into some content stuff, yeah.
That's sick, bro. That is sick. What a good story. Far out. And so you said you were going to go, in the off-season, you're going to go to the South Coast to do some fishing?
Yes. I met this guy on the Tongan Fisherman. He's got a really big following, and he wanted me to come up. He wants to take me out fishing, yellowfin, tuna and stuff, and that's way out of my league, catching those big fish. I'm used to spear fishing, catching little fish and that, and he said he's got a Airbnb for me if I wanted to come stay there with the family. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's sick, bro. That's so good. That is so good. I love that idea. And the Tongan Fisherman, that's, because like fishing, like content, people love that stuff. Like I'm sure you probably watch it all the time. Have you got any favorite content creators in the fishing world?
Yeah, I got a couple. Offshore Adventures.
Yeah.
He's taken me out a couple of times diving.
Yeah, okay.
Everyone knows the Young Bloods and that. So,
yeah. All right, that's sick, bro. I love hearing that. I guess heading into next year, is the goal, a premiership? Is that the dream for you heading into the next few years at the Sharkies?
Yep. That's my, like I said, I had heaps of goals. Going to my next years of thing, and definitely this year that passed, that premiership was always in my head, gaining all this confidence, just being myself around the club, around the boys, and knowing what to do, my job on the wing. That was definitely one of my big goals, going to to win a premiership. Yeah,
Yeah.
has to be.
And so now you're 27 now. When you see a young fella that might be a little bit quiet in that, do you try to go to them and make them feel comfortable in that?
Yes. I'll never forget, you know, what I went through.
Yeah.
And definitely teaching him not to, you know, I go up to some of the young boys and I tell them, you want my spot, you come and get it.
Yeah.
That's how I wasn't when I was little, you know. I would just
Yeah.
say sorry, I don't want your spot. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be like that.
Yeah, no, you
Right?
can't.
I wish I learned that a lot earlier, or
Yeah.
someone taught me that a lot earlier.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah,
Bro, that's mate. What an incredible story. It's so good to hear. And mate, the Tongan Fisherman, surely give that a follow. It's the best. I love that, mate. I ask all the boys this: favorite rapper of all time.
Tupac.
Tupac
Has to be.
has to be okay.
Has to be.
Favorite movie of all time.
Movie Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
You seen that?
100%. I've seen it. It's
Yeah.
a sick movie.
But
Do you like war movies?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And especially like that type of stuff.
Yep.
I've watched it about like 20 times.
Bro, there's something about war movies that are just so interesting. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. It's just like it just brings out the emotion. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
100%. Bro, thank you so much for coming on the potty, man. Such an interesting journey. And mate, give the Tongan Fisherman a follow. And as I said, bro, if you ever need any help with the content, let me know. I'll try to help if I can.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, bro. Boom.